Spending money is easy. The hard part is maintaining alignment of your family financial goals in the process of being a consumer. This program offers guides and tips that will help you save more than money. Now, let's hear from wife, mother, and inventor of the Couponizer, Amy Bergen.
Welcome to the Couponizer Save More Than Money workshop, and we will go through lots of information today, and I hope you take away some new stuff. I hope you relearn some of the things that you already know. But let's get started by exploring a little bit more about why you're here today. It's really important to take a breath. You somehow decided that it was worth your time and certainly worth your money to come and be a part of what we're doing here today and part of what my product has become over the 10 years since I had developed it. I was just a stay-at-home mom doing my thing, kind of overwhelmed with everything, and I really needed to rein in my impulse spending, and I'll get into a little bit more about my story as the day unfolds. But why are you here today? And what I thought I would do was put this picture of this little girl standing in front of a road with her hands on her hips, looking ahead and saying, where do I want to end up at the end of a journey? And that's what this morning is. So where are we going to end up at the other side? Well, I'm first going to tell you where we're not going to end up. We're not going to end up at the end of today being the almighty coupon queens of the world or kings of the world. A lot of people call me a coupon queen. And I don't know what it is, but that just kind of gets me. And the reason why it gets me is because it sets you apart. I mean, if you think of the Queen of England, it sets them so far up on a pedestal that it's almost unattainable, that that person is not real anymore. It's almost fantasy. And when you look at people who are considered coupon queens, it almost gives people permission to say, well, I can't do that. That's not for me. I could never achieve that kind of savings. And that's not what this is all about at all. Also, today, it's not difficult. What I'm going to teach you is simply that. It's just not going to be difficult at all. I don't want anybody here to be intimidated in any way by the material that we're going to go over. And also, it's not the same old stuff. I know that you think, well, what's so new about a coupon? A coupon's a coupon. Well, I'm here to tell you coupons have changed. And so it's not the same old stuff. There's so much new stuff, so much new technology out there that I really want to bring it to the forefront of your mind so that you can bring it into your life and into your routines so that you can be a better steward of your finances so that you can make your money go further. And there will be some outcomes associated with that that are just life-changing. So what is it? This workshop is how to be a smart consumer. And golly, that's what we need today. The economy right now is in the worst situation it's been since the Great Depression, and so many consumers are just in a tailspin as to what to do with the sudden increase in prices and the decrease in the amount of income available. And so what do? Well, we're going to learn how to be smart, and we're going to learn how to work through it. Not go around it, not ignore it, not deny it, go through it with the right skills, the right attitudes, and the right behaviors. Also, today is so basic. And the one thing that I have to attribute much of the success that I have achieved in my personal life as an athlete. I've played college sports, and now I do a lot of amateur leagues and tennis and things, is that I've surrounded myself with people who have taught me the basics over and over and over again, and I so enjoy being able to play tennis within my limits, at my level, and do well with learning and practicing the fundamentals. So this is a fundamental, basic workshop. There's nothing fancy about it. And so this is a time for you to learn something new, open your mind. You know, the fact that you're sitting in this room today says a lot about you. It says that you're open. It says that you have decided that perhaps there are better ways to go about doing things. And that when you are in a position like that, you open up so many options for yourself. You don't box yourself in, and you don't become frustrated with the same old stuff. So if you already have some of these skills, maybe today we'll be able to bump you into a new way of applying those same skills. But there's a verse in Ecclesiastes that's one of my favorite verses, and it goes like this. Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, if the axe is dull and its edge is unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. Well, if you think about it, who uses an axe? A lumberjack. But also, if we're going to bring it down to today, if you cook, you got to use the knives in the kitchen. And when you use a dull knife, it's almost impossible to get through the preparation of the items for your recipe. And for a lot of people, if the tools are not sharp, you just give up. There is no success in creating a meal as a cook with dull instruments. So what we're going to do is sharpen those skills today. Now, if you look here, the first session is almost like we're in a plane and we're going to fly 30,000 foot level view. And we're going to look down, and I don't know if you guys do this. I mean, I always look down and think, oh my gosh, those are real houses. They look like Monopoly pieces. And people really live in those homes, and they really do sleep in little beds. And I mean, it's just, the perspective is just mind-blowing sometimes when you're flying in an airplane looking out the window. But we're going to go there first so we can get a good perspective on this whole consumer process. Then, so don't get thinking we're not going to get down to the details, because we will absolutely come in for a landing. We'll get down into the details of the basics of coupons, and you'll come away with some real firm strategies that you can repeat over and over again that will help you to save more money. So the money saving tips and tools second session is when we're going to go there. And so times truly have changed because people are searching for the tools and strategies to survive in this time. Because sadly, this is what we're seeing all over the place. Help. I need help. I actually am 2 months behind in my mortgage. That's how far behind that you have to be. I have a friend who's a mortgage broker, and I was asking her all kinds of questions because the house next door to us on our cul-de-sac went into foreclosure. And I've been sort of really taking in this whole notion of where we are as a country and realizing that we are at a place where we have got to make some changes. And so you are in the absolutely best place to get through this time and come out on the other end having saved yourself. Because in the end, you will be successful in turning things around for you because of you, not because of me. So I just want you to remember that I want to put into you things that you can take away, and you can go away and feel good about what you've done. So let me just ask you this. Before we go any further, to integrate economizing behaviors into your everyday routine has to have a connection. If it doesn't have a connection to a higher goal, then you're going to likely experience short-term success, little bursts of savings. But also, do you know what you might fall into? You might fall into that consumer category of buying things you don't need just because you have a coupon. And I know that because I've done that. I was disconnected really at one point in this process from a higher goal. Why was I doing this? What got me here to begin with? And really for me, I answered that question for myself, that I didn't want to disconnect from my family, from my husband, because really when you get into those really unhealthy overspending patterns, your relationships really start to change. The flavor, the fabric, the whole scene changes. And I began to realize as a result of quitting my job, staying home, the income wasn't there, we'd made this choice as a family, I wasn't changing much about the way I was spending money. I could go to Target with the best of them and spend $300 just like that. And I could justify it all. So I want you to take a second and write down, what is your goal? What is the connection? What is it that you are going to connect these behaviors to and stay connected, that's going to guide you? My husband thinks it's so funny. He's here somewhere. Where are you? Is he in the room? I don't think he's in the room. He thinks it's so funny that I watch The Biggest Loser. How many of you watch that show? Do you know those people are connected? They are connected to why they're there. That's why they do not give up. And the ones that make it to the end, they are completely different people. They're totally transformed. I think it is the most inspiring reality show out there, even though, you know, reality shows kind of get a bad rap. But that one, to me, really shows what you can do when you commit. So take a second to write that down. Okay, let's talk a second about our lives as consumers. What is a consumer? Very basically, a consumer is someone who consumes. And the definition of the word consume is to destroy, expend, use up, eat or drink, devour, destroy, decompose, burn, spend. These are all the things that represent the actions of consuming, which if you're a consumer, those are the things you do. And so it really gets down to consuming money. And so the money that you have is what you consume to be able to bring forward into your lives the things that you have. The clothes, the cars, the house, the food, the activities, and everything. Consumerism is much more than just you going out and buying things. You're being influenced. And so women spend more than $3.7 trillion annually on consumer goods and services. That is a powerful, powerful piece of the pie. I mean, there's 303,824,640 consumers, that's the US population as of July 2008, out there. So just think of the volume of money that is swirling around at any given time, and $3.7 trillion annually on just goods and services is something that gets the marketer's attention, gets the manufacturer's attention. They want a piece of that. So we have a responsibility to spend that money wisely. However, 90% of consumers spend on impulse. They really don't plan. They really don't think about how they're spending their money. They're just going about, like I was before I worked for Coca-Cola, happy to take in the messages, look at the magazines, listen to the radio, watch the TV, you know, all of that, and just go out and let it influence me however I wanted it to. And for, you know, unless you have a completely unlimited stream of income, that strategy doesn't work long term. So what I want to do today is show you that today's consumer process is typically like this. You go to the store, you shop, you have something you need to buy. You just go out and get it. Then you deliver it home. Then you kind of go, oh gosh, I wonder if I can afford this. I wonder, I mean, it went through on my credit card, and I don't even know if I want to talk to my husband about this. I think I'll bury it under the stairs or something. And so it's like the plan is at the end. And we're sort of pulled around, and if you'll notice in this illustration, if I divide these two in half, I'm going to show you that over on the shop buy side, where you're closest to your wallet, you're closest to the money, your hard-earned money, and the resources that you have to provide for your family or for yourself if you're single, or senior if your family is just you, and you're in the store. In your store, you're most vulnerable. That's where all those marketing messages are. That's where you are going to be subject to what the pressure. There's like a pressure cooker right there. And so, and then on the other side of that would be that you're at home trying to figure things out after the fact. So you're home, you're safe, and in the safety of your home, you can kind of let yourself down and go, oh, I just really screwed up. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. Or you might decide to fight about it, but you're home and you have to deal with it. You deal with things at home. So the outcome of this, obviously, are loss of control. You can feel as if things are swirling out of control. You can feel feelings of failure, like I should be able to do this. And the reason why I know these outcomes, communication breakdowns. I've been there. I know these feelings. Do they go away 100% all the time as a result of being a smart consumer? No, but I would say that you can have a better outcome more of the time, and we're going to get to what that looks like later. Communication breakdowns are huge. When you're hiding things, when you don't want to share anymore, that's a bad sign. High stress, the stress level starts to go up. And for many of you in the room, if you're identifying with any of these, then we're going to show you some of the strategies you can put in place to bring the stress level down. You can gain more control. Things don't have to be so complex. The outcome of what I just described in the consumer process today is very complex at times. You have to rob Peter to pay Paul. You have to open up another charge card. You have to take out a loan. You have to take out a second mortgage to cover. And at some point, you run out of options. And so in the end, this is what I'm saying. And this is where my heart is that you do not honor the relationships in your life. I mean, you don't end up honoring the fact that you actually signed paper and said that you would pay for this. You don't honor your relationships in your home because you're ashamed of yourself. I'm talking about finding and maintaining balance, because really in the end you've got needs and wants that will constantly tug a war for your money as a consumer. Needs are the things that you have to have. Wants are the extras. Wants you can go without. You don't have to have them. You might think you do, but you really don't. Now, granted, wants make life full, they make life exciting, but the want side and the need side, again, you have to be able to find and maintain balance. Needs, if you've got housing, food, clothing, transportation, insurance, and health care down there, you're in the right category. And those are the responsibilities that we take on as adults. And when we have families, those are our responsibilities to our children to maintain and keep up with so that we're covered. Those are the basics. If you've got a roof over your head, food in your tummy, clothes on your back, or transportation to get around town, you're covered as far as insurance on the things that you own so that they were destroyed by fire or tornado or whatever. They're replaceable, and then health care for your own health and the sake of your children. You're going to maintain a health care policy of some kind so those expenses don't eat you alive. You're covered. Then your wants over here would include your activities, your gifts, your decor, your entertainment, your vacations, your electronics, and all of that. And I can tell you that being a mom, this is the ultimate challenge. Because I've got 3 kids and they all want to be in sports. They all have about 5 or 6 friends every year that invite them to parties. We got gifts for Christmas. We got gifts for Mother's Day. We got gifts all over the place. We want to decorate our homes nicely. We want to go out and enjoy ourselves and to partake in some entertainment. That's what makes life full. We want to take a vacation. And of course, I had to add electronics because it seems like everybody's got the old flat screen TV these days. And so I am the one last consumer on my street that has the old clunker TVs in her house. We have one flat screen TV in the living room, and I think we gave in just because the glare off the windows was getting bad, and it wasn't working anymore. And these really do a good job of anti-glare, but we have clunker TVs all over our house. Here's where I'm going to jump off into the new frontier. I'm going to say, this is perhaps for you this is the way for you to reframe those same activities, the same exact activities, those 4 things that we lined up: shop, buy, deliver, plan. We're going to rearrange them, and they're going to look like this. They're going to look like a flowing cycle. This flowing cycle is something that if you do this and you align this to your family financial means, your limits, you embrace your limits, your boundaries. I'm a student of Dr. Henry Cloud. I've read his books, I've done his workshops. They're excellent materials. If you want to write that name down, if you want to learn more about coming to terms with limits and boundaries, it is an excellent study. And the boundaries keep the good in, They keep the good in and the bad out, and so your financial means are going to be within there. And if you honor that by using a flowing cycle of these activities, starting with the biggest one in the corner there is plan. Starting with your plan, you can achieve a lot more success and your outcomes will be much different. So if we're going to divide this diagram like we did the other, and we're going to put the planning and delivering in the home, and we're going to put that in the home first, because again, I said the home is a place of safety. A home is a place where you can talk. A home is a place where you can get out your wants, needs, and desires, and you can work it out. Because in the end, you're all on the same team. You know, the earner and the burner is what I call it. My husband goes out and earns, and I burn. He's back there in the corner. That's not everybody's scenario. I recognize that there are many of you who are earners and burners, and everybody in the family are earners and burners. But somebody's earning, somebody's burning. And when they're at war with one another, the constant message to the earner from the burner when there's not enough money is that their efforts aren't good enough. And that's really not a great message to send the earner, because likely they're working very hard. And if they have to keep climbing the corporate ladder, keep going after the next promotion, to keep up with your burning, and you're sending that signal of I'm not content, it's not a great scenario at all. You will experience those outcomes like I just described. So home is a place of safety. It's a time to talk. It's a time to share. It's time to open up. And that's really what I did way back when I started down this whole journey. So I heard that message from my husband. He didn't actually say it to me. Of course, you know, men don't really talk quite as much as we do. But I sensed it. And I was like, aha, I get it now. It's true. He's right. I had to confess that I really wasn't listening and I wasn't sending a great message in that direction. But he also hung in there with me. He didn't check out. He didn't disconnect, which is what happens in many marriages. So now the other side, you're in the store. You're in the store when you're armed with your plan and you're going to shop and buy according to your plan. And we're going to get into that more in a second. If you divide this diagram out the other way too, the top half, you haven't spent a dime planning and shopping, and we're going to go into each